light your money on fire in like 1,000 different ways.
Right.
But the one thing that he realized, and I think that he was, reminded of when he started the thing, was that there's nothing more, foundational or trust creating than a great testimonial or like a recommendation from a close friend.
Persistence culture. Persistence, firm or obstinate continuance in a course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. Culture, the customs, arts, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social group.
All right, keep moving. This is Persistence Culture. We are Ventura County's premier podcast. This is Brian Botti. Mambo is out today at the Yellow Table and with our weekly guest. Why don't you introduce yourself and what you do?
Yeah, Brian, thanks for having me, man. My name's Henry Moffly.
Nice to meet you, Henry Moffly.
Good to meet you, Brian. Good to see you, brother.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, we'll drink to that. I don't know if I had to describe myself. I guess I would say that I'm just a man.
You're just a man.
I'm just an individual. I guess I'm an athlete. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an engaged man. I'm a resident here of Ventura, a son of Pasadena, California.
Oh, okay.
And,
a man of many hats.
Yeah. But it's good to be me.
And entrepreneur. So you're a business owner as well.
Yeah, I am. I've been an entrepreneur, I guess, for like about 4 years now.
Okay.
A little longer than that. I run a digital marketing agency which focuses on reviews. We started it as a business known as Upswell.
Okay.
With 2 P's. Upswell.
Upswell.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. My partner and I were both surfers, and it was his name that he came up with. But we figured we'd keep in the oceanic sort of theme.
Sure, why not? Pasadena, California,
Well, yeah, exactly. I merely adopted, the darkness.
I was born in the dark.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to describe growing up in Pasadena, it was not ocean specific. It was more, AYSO soccer and golf camp and
sure.
All that. But
golf camp.
Yep. But yeah, we started Upswell about 4 years ago. It was his idea originally, but at the time he was running a franchise painting company, and the idea behind it was we wanted to help businesses get online reviews, just simply that.
Sure.
And so last 4 years we've gone from Upswell, got a cease and desist from a marketing agency out on the East Coast, also called Upswell, so we changed to Opal Eye.
Okay.
And we still have Opal Eye reviews, and we named that after a fish out here in the Channel Islands. And now
nice.
We're running Opal Eye, and we just bought another business known as Get More Reviews, which is very SEO friendly name.
Very SEO friendly.
In the last couple of months, which has been just exciting. It's kind of like having a new house, a new house with tons of bedrooms and bathrooms to play in, and you got a rumpus room down in the basement and all that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's very rad. But yeah, I mean that's part of who I am. It's definitely what my drive to grow is every day. But yeah.
So, but I guess back in the beginning, did you guys have any experience in reviews or working with companies? I consider that marketing. That's kind of like a helpful marketing tool for other companies. When your buddy had the idea, did he have a marketing degree? Did you guys have any experience in the sector?
No. I think that he had come from a world of running businesses himself. He's like a guy who likes to work with his hands.
Okay.
A carpenter, a woodworker, always had a wood shop, and was raised in a way kind of by his grandpa, teaching him how to make cabinets and, different stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he had a little bit of experience there, which led him to starting. I guess didn't lead him to start, one of his first businesses, but he started a surf camp way back in the day.
Oh, okay.
That serviced Pasadena kids, because if you know anything about LA County, the San Gabriel Valley, it's not very close to the ocean, so people don't really go to the beach as much. So what the idea behind the camp was that we would take kids from inland, bus them to the beach in Santa Monica, teach them to surf, and then take them home at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean,
and you were part of that?
I was. I ended up becoming a part of that, but Jamie's whole thing has always just kind of been, get out, start something, fail forward, and sort of figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had like a camper top, a conversion kit business for vehicles, had the summer of surf camp, and then he found himself running a franchise painting company and found out that there's 10 different ways to spend your money if you are a business owner in the trades. You can go out and buy advertisements on Angie's List, or spend a ton of money on Yelp, or do this, do that. You can, light your money on fire in 1,000 different ways. Right. But the one thing that he realized, and I think that he was, reminded of when he started the thing, was that there's nothing more, foundational or trust creating than a great testimonial or a recommendation from a close friend, where if Brian tells me, hey man, you got to try this new barbecue joint in town, you're going to, love it. I'm going to listen to Brian. And the same psychology kind of applies to, reviews and businesses. If you don't have a great listing, if you don't have great reviews attached to that business, then you just might as well not exist. So we kind of transitioned that way. But I mean, to answer your question with a 5-minute answer, I mean, no, we didn't really have a lot of experience talking to business owners. We were not from a digital marketing, background. We were not from an agency ownership background. I had come from SaaS sales. So I sold online, healthcare staffing software to hospitals and surgery centers. I worked for a company called CareRev. I worked for Apple, selling phones and computers. I did a little bit of radio stuff when I was in college. I got a broadcast production degree, and I never thought I'd end up in sales, but he knew the trades to a degree. I knew, sales, and I knew how to talk to people really well. And yeah, we just kind of got her going. And then we landed our first client probably after, I guess it was 3 months of,
I usually ask that question. How long were you guys building something before you landed that client?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the funny thing about the Upswell beginning was that we didn't really have to build much because we white labeled it from the very beginning. So we went out and we bought software or rented software from a company, and we just slapped our logo on it and sold it to people. And so we didn't have to worry about anybody, any of the software breaking or hiring developers or anything like that. It was just very out of the box, grab and go. But in the beginning, figuring out how to sell to people was a really hard thing. And, we kind of, at least I went into the sales process in the beginning sort of assuming that they knew that they had an issue, or that everybody knew that, reviews are terribly, terribly impactful on the psychology of how we buy, right? Whether you're hiring, a painting company to come by and paint your home, or whether you're, buying a microphone off of Amazon, right? What are you going to do? You're going to read the reviews. That is what you're going to do. And people take that kind of influence for granted. So,
but then you have to paint that picture for the buyer, right?
Oh yeah.
You need to, and it's not one of those things where I think that's where I struggle too. I went down the route of white labeling and trying to sell software as well. And my struggle, I think, was not getting that like ROAS number at the end of the month saying like your 10 reviews that I got you equated into 10 sales.
Right. Getting
that number to them and being like, look, first like ad revenue is like you spend $1,000, you get like 10,000 out of it, whatever. So I think selling that to the customer is an art form. That's really half. It seems like half the job, really.
Oh, dude. I mean, like the agency space, especially like the software, marketing space for any kind of service business is so abstract, and it is sometimes kind of hard to quantify. If you're selling like SEO services, or if you're selling, the management of a domain for like a website that you might build somebody, or I know that you have much more of like a full service type of, offering to your clients, not just kind of a niche thing like we do. But, I guess the funny thing, and the thing that I always tell my clients, especially when I'm comparing against those more abstract forms, is I go, well, if you can look at your Google listing at the end of each month and see that number is higher than like when you last looked at it, then you know that I am like doing my job.
Yeah,
or that
exactly.
This is working.
Right.
And it's easy to kind of compare because, all you got to say is, well, how about you Google what your service, market is in your city? Just type in, insurance broker, Moore Park or whatever you want. And, look at your competition, set a goal, and let's set a plan on how to get there. And, if we're making incremental progress and like kind of chipping away,
then you're winning, and you're providing that value, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it is funny though, because sometimes it's just like, well, what are you really doing for me? Or like, God, like I could do that. And it's like, well,
could you? I mean, I think the framing for that is, as a business owner, you can't wear too many hats if you want to get things done or if you want to grow. And I think finding those business owners that are like, yeah, I want to get here, it's an easier sell than a person that's just like, yeah, I just want to stay afloat. I just want to keep, maintenance and keep it going.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you got to find those people that are motivated to expand the business and grow. And it's like, well, you're going to need reviews. You're going to need this. And
Right. I mean, like that's one of the first things that I will gate for when I'm talking to a prospect, like whether it's somebody who I've, identified as a potential good target or somebody who's come to me as like an inbound prospect, right? Is like, do you have that mindset right off the bat?
Yeah.
Where if you started your business as kind of a means to an end, as like a means to a paycheck, or, just
want to work in it.
Right. Working in the business, then you're going to be a whole lot tougher to convince about why what we're doing together is kind of important. Whereas if, you just want to like delegate responsibility, take, tasks off of your back and, leave the growth to the incredible team that you might be building around you, then you're like, part of that right cut of cloth that we're sort of looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you started with a white label, and then now you've progressed to, you have your own software now, right? Or
we do. We went from having the white label, which I guess we still do maintain for, a lot of our legacy clients, but we went out and bought software about like 6-8 months ago, and it was a little bit underbaked, which wasn't a bad thing. It was something that we like had to do in order to move towards the goal of like realizing a potential exit from the business or a sale of the business, right? You can't, sell for a great number a business that is built on rented land. You've got to, till your own land.
Very well said. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not going to get the multiple that you want if you do it that way. So we knew we had to do that. And Jamie, my partner, he recognized that really well. But that software was a little bit underbaked. And then we came across this business that was put to the attention of Jamie, my partner, and went out and sort of cased it out and pursued it. And the product is right where we want it to be. When we acquired it a month and a half ago, it came with, a bunch of clients, which is great. So we've kind of inherited a book of business, which was part of the purchase too. We inherited a VA who's just a total rock star.
Nice.
Like, she builds all of our accounts. She's on Slack, like clockwork. And then we also inherited basically an inbound lead flow machine, which is built on like Google AdWords. So
Okay.
the whole way that we built Upswell and what became Opali and the whole, white labeled empire that we brought up to about, like, I guess 150 clients before we went out and acquired this thing, was built on like outbound effort and networking and meeting with people and just very not very long, but longer.
It's like more
sales cycles.
foot soldiers. Like, you got to get out there and build it.
Right. I mean, like, it's a super traditional sales process,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like where you're casing for, intent. You're kind of like putting your finger on it. You're booking a demo and a meeting, and you're sending a proposal, and you're doing X and Y and Z. And not that doesn't yield really solid customers, because generally the longer the buying process, the more like committed people are. But
Slower.
It's slow. It's really hard to scale in a meaningful way, especially if you're trying to keep like, your employer, labor costs down, right? Like, to build like a sales team in a traditional SaaS way is just, it's expensive, right? Like, you hire sales development reps, you hire account executives, you hire people to just like go out and close deals. And that just, I don't think that's like tenable for like entrepreneurs who are trying to start their own thing in this age, unless you're out there like raising, millions of dollars of capital from a VC firm that we never really did.
Right.
Yeah. So, we're always kind of operating that way.
It's an interesting approach. So with the Google AdWords, clients come to you instead. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Instead of doing kind of like the foot soldier route, you're just setting up a huge billboard, and then you're just allowing people to line up.
Right. Well, so the founders of Get More Reviews, like, their whole MO, and I like admire them greatly for it, but their whole MO was like, build something that needs to be touched as little as possible. Just like attract organically, let them onboard themselves, let them spend their money, and use and go after whatever they decide to go after.
Right.
And if they churn, they churn. And if they stick around, they stick around. And to their credit, like, they built something that was, very big, like, a great amount of clients, they even have. And now we, I guess, have our own inherited, agencies that we, give out a white label to, which is kind of, full circle and kind of wild, but,
oh, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it just
opened up a lot of doors, it seemed like.
Well, it opened up a lot of doors, but I guess to like finish that thought, that, I guess the reason why we came in, they were experiencing some churn over the last year where they couldn't kind of keep it, growing the way that they might have wanted to, but they didn't want to, reach out and put their hands to the client, or, hold their hand through, say, maybe the onboarding process or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So
is that the reason for their exit? And that seems like Get More Reviews is such like gigantic buzzwords in there, like SEO wise. And I'm like just thinking about like acquiring something like that. I'm like, dude, this must have been like multi-million-dollar business, and the businesses that do well have those like domains, and they stick to them,
Yeah.
So how did you even find that? Like, what was it just biz buy sell, like, or FOPA?
Yeah, it was a little bit of that. I think part of the opportunity came to us from a relationship that Jamie had with another guy who owned another agency who also focused on online reviews. It's funny. It's like a little fraternity of like
it does seem like that. It does seem like that.
Of like agency owners who focus on reviews, but he had kind of clued Jamie into the fact that they were thinking about an exit, and they had a little bit of a churn issue, but it didn't seem to he or I that it wasn't anything that couldn't be like solved. So that's been actually really rewarding, like, being able to explain that to these clients who are like going from trials to becoming clients or thinking about canceling, right? Where I'm having conversations with these people now where I'm just like, well, the reason why we bought this is because we want to like white glove this thing. We want to, teach you ways to use our service better or set you up for success in a way that maybe you didn't know you could set yourself up in the boundaries of our platform before. So that's been fun. That's been cool. It's like a fun little puzzle, you know, like you sort of piece it together and you like put this here and you put that there. And,
right. And I'm sure in the beginning you weren't even thinking about, oh yeah, we're going to acquire another business and then use that. It's so funny. Like the more and more I talk to, these founders, they all seem to share the same story of like, we get to the next step and then we just figure it out from there. And then the next step, and it's like, what do we need to do in order to just grow and get better? And it just, you've slowly, okay, you got the cease and desist. Okay, change your name. And then you went from white labeling to buying the software, and now you're acquiring businesses. It's like, it's crazy. The starting point to now is just totally like.
Well, it's been like a total mindset shift too, because like, Jamie's so funny how he's like about 4 or 5 years older than I am.
Okay.
And when we started this thing together, when we started working together as partners, I was like, oh, well, if we're starting a SaaS company or like starting an agency, which I didn't even call it an agency then, I was like, well, we have a SaaS company, right?
Yeah. That's the buzzword.
That's the buzzword, yeah. But I was like, yeah, well, we got to get, a pro subscription to Zoom. We got to go buy HubSpot. We got to
buy all these things.
We got to buy these things, just to make sure that we can track our pipeline and make sure that stuff works and we're going about this the right way and we're tracking like meaningful metrics and all that. But at the end of the day, it was sort of like, well, you can, pack your parachute till, the plane basically flies into, the side of a mountain, or you can jump out of the plane and build your parachute on the way down.
Right.
And I was so like, let's pack that parachute until the thing like, flies in the mountain. And Jamie has always been like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. And that's like so much of what I don't know. I mean, that's how I feel like life can be too.
Absolutely.
It's just like, you got to just jump out of the plane and worry about figuring it out as you go along, or else you're never going to make meaningful strides. You're not going to come full circle from white labeling to now being the white labeler.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's a whole different sector. You're actually white labeling businesses as well.
Yeah. So, agencies, if you're a digital marketing agency and you're out there offering, ad services or SEO or website building or something like that, and you want to offer, text and email, review solicitation functionality to your customers, you can come to us, get an agency amount of seats on our platform with your brand, right in our dashboard. And, you can just onboard clients and take whatever margin you want off the top of it. And we should probably raise our agency rates, to be honest with you. But,
baby steps.
It's great. I mean, it's like having an army of, they're not just white labelers, they're resellers.
Yeah, that's
right?
powerful, yeah.
And having resellers is,
they sell themselves, really.
Yeah, it's nice to have like an army of evangelists out there. It's like having 60 salespeople. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is like, I'm just curious about, I guess the software as one, like the one that you bought, and like what like, I guess I'm thinking like, okay, you give me more reviews. How do you even do that? Like what's the process of like what your software does to help a business do that? And then I have another question, but
well, so the process is, I guess if I'm going to paint the process, I got to paint like what has gone on for millennia, since the beginning of time, right? Like, most business owners, when they finish up a service or provide something to their customer, they ask for feedback about, how they did, how they can improve. Most say, hey, well, it'd be great if you could review me. But the way that usually goes down is that folks don't know where the hell to go. They feel like they don't have the time for it, and they, will more often than not just forget to do it.
Right.
So what we do is we simplify the process of helping that business owner ask, remind, and then guide their client towards the listing that is going to attract their next prospect. So I say to my customers that like we help businesses lead a horse to water and try like hell to make them drink, right? So if you get a text after you walk out of the dentist's office that says, hey, Brian, thanks for stopping by today. How did your cleaning go? Could you tell us about it with a quick review? You've been asked right there. If you're sitting in your car, sucking on your teeth, thinking about how clean they are right now, you're probably going to go, yeah, it went great.
Yeah,
and I'm going to follow that link that's in that text and get her done.
Gotcha.
But if you maybe forget or, you're already driving by that point, you might get a reminder text a couple of days later that has seen whether or not you've clicked on that, and then you convert from there. And then once you click that message, you're guided to, most often it's Google. For some people, it's Yelp, or if you're industry specific, you might want to go to like Angie's List, or if you're an attorney, you might want to go to Avo. It all depends.
Yeah.
But we want to guide them not just to the listing itself, but to the stinking box.
Right.
Where we can get that.
Just
done.
type your review. Yeah.
Exactly.
And there's a very tight window for reviewers. Like, I feel like if you don't send it right after their appointment or, barbershop, like I get a new haircut, if I don't get that while I'm in the parking lot, I'm already thinking about something else. I got like 50 notifications I got to like go through in order to, go about my day. So attacking it from a reminder standpoint right after the appointment, that's pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of different ways to go about it. You can do the bulk option where you send out requests all at once at the end of the week or the end of the month. You can automate the process, which I'm sure you do a lot of yourself, where if a system is being used and we hit that Goldilocks point, text fires automatically.
Yeah.
But like the best, and most conversion-worthy version of that process is when Brian says to Henry, thanks for coming on the show today, man. It's been a pleasure having you. It would mean the world to me if you could review, how things went. You're going to get a quick text before you leave, right? And I go, yeah, dude, of course. We look each other in the eye.
It's more personal, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I could see that.
Then sure enough, I'm on a high walking out the place. I'm sitting in my car. I get the text, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, like that.
I'm going to follow through. I'm
going to follow through. Yeah. I'm going to get that done. I have some customers who do just that. They like say, hey, how did it go today? Like, tell me about how my text did. Is there anything we can improve on? No, like it was great.
Yeah.
And then they get that text, and they say, well, that's awesome. You just got a text.
Right.
Like, go ahead and do that for me.
Yeah. Very few times have I felt so compelled to leave a review, and it's usually when I get a personal like message from the owner or whoever provided the service, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give you a review. You did a great job.
Yeah.
Let me just do this real quick,
Yeah, because I mean, everybody's hustling, right?
Yeah.
We've all got our thing that we're going after, and I think that people these days, get that to a in a really intimate way, because I don't think that with the economy that we're in right now that anybody's got like a normal thing, right? Like nobody's going to work their 9 to 5 and is comfortably paying their mortgage
Yeah.
and, feeding 3 children and, just like living a totally happy life. Maybe there are some people out there who are doing that, but I mean, most people have, a passion project on the side or,
Right.
a hustle that they're trying to build.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the people who kind of put themselves out there as like, yeah, this is my thing.
Right.
Like,
And it's telling that person, that customer, like, how can I help? Like,
Yeah.
how can they help grow the business or whatever? And it's simple review.
it's a total culture thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to know, I want to grow, of
Mhm.
course, but I also want to know from you. It's not just like positive.
Mhm.
Sometimes we don't have the perfect experience and we want to hear about that too. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not here to just like make perfect reputations for businesses. Like I'm here to like
Spread the word,
hopefully,
yeah.
spread the word, help them grow. But then also like, if the buns on your hot dog are just like, totally soggy, like
Mhm.
let's not ruin the business. Let's maybe tell the owner about it though.
Right,
And like,
right.
let's see if we can, moving forward, make things better.
Right. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So you talked about passion projects and entrepreneurs. Obviously, this is your main passion project. Say you do, when you do exit successfully from this business, is there another passion project, or what is Henry doing when time and money are on his side and he's got whatever he wants to do in front of him?
I don't know. I think that my goals and aspirations are kind of traditional and a little bit mundane, but I'm kind of a simple dude that way, I guess. I want to be able to have money to put a down payment down on a house.
Mhm.
Have a mortgage that hopefully isn't at like
Atrocious
a
amount.
20% rate or something like that.
We'll see.
I'm engaged, and my fiance and I, we both want like a gaggle of kids,
Mhm.
and I really just want to be able to raise them comfortably and hopefully give them the childhood that I was afforded by my parents, and be able to go out and experience the outdoors, raise them surfing and golfing and playing sports. And, I mean, like, I guess I've always wanted to be, a dad, but in terms of the next thing,
Say you
Yeah.
have that all covered. Say that you get all that whole wish list done,
yeah,
and then you got that itch.
yeah.
I don't know if you've thought about that, but what's that itch? What's that itch you need to scratch?
The itch. It's a good question. I sometimes with doing what I'm doing, it's hard to think about that next
Sure,
thing.
no, that's fair. And you don't have to have an answer. I was just curious, like, if there was a passion project, because I guess in the beginning it was like a partnership, and it was like, yeah, let's do it,
Yeah.
But I don't know if there was like, I mean, you did broadcasting before. Would it be just like hopping on a podcast and just doing your own thing, or like, we just interviewed Antonio. He does like men's group, like hiking, or not hiking, but like wilderness retreats. So he just goes out in the wilderness and he just gets a bunch of dudes, and like he like helps them like conquer their inner whatever issues that they have.
Yeah.
So it's like he's kind of integrated his like his passion for growth, and then his passion for the wilderness, and together into something.
Mm-hmm.
I was just curious if you had any like outside passions other than selling SaaS to review, and not
Selling
to
God, I mean, I do like selling. I do like relationship building. I mean,
Yeah.
Selling and relationship building, I feel like
Yeah, you're good at it.
can kind of butt heads
Yeah.
sometimes, because
Sure.
at the end of the day, like, what are you trying to really do here? You're trying to make a buck.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think that my aspirations are kind of selfish in that way, where I recognize that it's not gonna, it's the way that things are now, that it's not gonna be linear anymore. Like there's nobody who's got, at least in my experience, there's no kind of linear path to success. And it could be that I'm like, podcasting or hosting my own thing, or it could be that I just start another agency and take my learnings from this and apply it to that. Or it could be that I just am selling enterprise software to more contractors or something like that.
No, I could see you doing like helping other people sell, like something like in that realm of like maybe not public speaking, but like your own type of selling course or something like that. Element where you help people build a relationship and close, because I'm terrible at that. I do not like selling to people, and that's something that I've had to learn or need to find a partner who can do that. But that's valuable information that I think a lot of people who have it don't understand, like the power in that, because like that's half a business really.
It's just about how you, I mean the things that I apply to that are like, if your prospect can sense for even a second that you need this sale, right?
Oh, then they can smell it.
Yeah, well, they can smell it from a mile away. I mean, like I don't want you to go out there and like act like you don't need it, but what you're out there to do is put information in front of hopefully what is a discerning eye. And, if you're good enough at that persuasion and presentation, then they should be able to understand like why you're at this table talking to them. And then you want to make sure that while you're doing that, that you're conveying as much as you can a sense of authority and expertise, whether you've got that or not.
Right.
Fake it till you make it. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you got to say like, well, I've been doing this for 25 years. I've got 25 years.
But there's ways that you can exude that without saying that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Know your material.
Know your material. Yeah. Know your subject matter.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and if you speak in an honest way and try to be as much of yourself as possible, which maybe why I'm wearing like a surf shop t-shirt while I'm sitting in here.
Hey man, be you. That's where I wanted.
I remember when I started my thing, I used to show up to every Zoom demo call, like, perfectly coiffed with, my collared shirt on, and, I made sure that there was nothing out of place, and I was just kowtowing. I was just like praising them for, making the time to be with me.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, well, I'm glad you're here. Tell you what, here's how it's going to work today. You're going to take a peek at this. I want to learn about where you're at in the market. And I'll show you where we're at in the market. And should we meet in the middle and you feel like there's something neat that we can offer to your business or a way that we can make you grow, then let's work together. And if not, I don't want to work with you. And, you can take that or leave it. But yeah, I mean,
I like that.
But that's not like I guess that's not as cool or easy as it sounds.
Sure.
You definitely.
I mean, there's people that it come naturally to, and then others they have to work on that. So.
Yeah. So maybe that could be, sales coaching could be something.
I don't know. When you talk about it just seems like you have a passion in it, and I don't think it's been really productized. It's not a SaaS, like it's not like the super sexy thing right now, but people need to learn that, and I've seen like sales courses on that, and I've been curious, but it's just one of those things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've had years of trying to learn and making mistakes.
Which other people don't have.
Right.
I mean, that's experience and knowledge that people don't have, and then when they want to sell a super cool product that they're proud of, they don't know how to sell it. It just dies, So there's that whole other portion of getting it in front of people, getting it to, people to buy it, pull the trigger on it, that it just never happens. So I just thought I was just curious about that.
Got to be ruthless.
Got to be
qualify or disqualify as fast as you can.
I think you're on that other spectrum where you think that way, but then your partner is more like me. I'm more mechanically inclined, and I like to build things, and I'm just like, cool. Anybody want to buy it? No?
All
right. Well, at least I built this cool thing, whatever.
I guess, like, if I had to tell anybody, who's watching this out there, like, where I kind of came from to where I'm at now. And I'm not saying that, like, I'm a wildly successful person. I'm not. Like, I feel like I'm in a great position right now, and I'm where I want to be at the age that I'm at. But all through high school and all through college, even when I was trying to declare a major when I went to Colorado, I had no clue what I wanted to study. I had no clue what I wanted to major in, what I wanted to do with my life. And I just had this existential crisis, like, my entire time going through that, like my quarter life crisis, because, you can often feel like, well, if I'm not going to be a firefighter, doctor, lawyer, or other, right, what do I do? And when I started this, or when I started doing this with Jamie, I realized that I'm not only great at having conversations with people, but great at explaining where, we might be falling short, or explaining a process or a system that might be kind of hard to understand, which I think is kind of the crux and the foundation of, like, any way that you're going to market your business.
Yeah.
And
layman's terms, dumb it down,
Seriously, yeah. I mean, we started with that, right? Like, you can burn your money in 10 different ways, right?
Yeah, I like that line a lot.
When you're starting a business. And if I can simplify that and, go out and do that, I finally realized that I like to sell and explain, because selling is really just, educating at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be a teacher,
Okay.
Maybe I just want to be a...
Well, you could just package it into digital videos and then just whatever.
Right.
So
yeah.
That'll be its own size.
Pop it into a course.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay, so you've acquired this new business. You already have this, these new pipelines of people coming in. Where are the problems for your business now, and what's the major mile block that you're facing to get you to the next level? I don't know what that next level is for you, but that next goal.
Well, so I think I said before that the beauty of the business model that we bought is that the past, or the former founders, were very hot on trying their best to not touch the onboarding process or the buying process, or really the customer journey post-purchase. And I do see a lot of value in that. I do want to keep it that way. But because of that, a lot of the clients that, or the, leads that we see come through because of our ads are, maybe less than serious, or, churn after a month, or, do a free trial.
Yeah.
And they get onboarded at $50 a month or something like that, and they just, they don't convert, and
they're less warm.
Well, it's not that they're less warm; it's just that they're less serious, and you lose out on conveying a sense of urgency, or conveying, the magnitude of the issue that they're facing by, say, having like a pizza joint that's like got a 3.6 star rating and, has maybe 180 reviews or something like that. That's like a dire situation to be in, because like, you are an owner and you've got this business, and if you are a real owner, you've got no plan B. Like, this is your, ride or die, your thing to do. And unless you recognize that at like kind of a micro scale, your business isn't gonna go. So when it comes to the leads that we attract and the customers that we want to bring into our fold of like seat fillers on our platform, we're trying to figure out a way how to attract those, maybe not those that are going to pay us more, but maybe those that will take the like culture and the process more seriously.
Because they have to buy in, right?
Well, yeah, you got to buy in. Like what I explained to my partner is like, you have to sell on value. you can't sell on price. Like you can't like go out there and just say, well, just try it.
It's only
like,
$100
for 2 weeks. Just do a 2-week trial. Like
Right.
all you need to do is pop your credit card in. If you're selling that way, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Right. You have to say, well, look,
Here's the value.
we're giving you, this super easy way to hop in here. But that's not why I think that you should, be here right now. I think it's because you need to recognize that you've got this issue, or recognize that you've got a long way to go before you get to where you want to be. And that's like I think that's the thing that we're missing right now. So that's kind of like what I'm actively trying to problem solve, is like, how do we attract that really,
Your
solid
ideal
business, the ideal customer. Yeah. Because with Opaleye and Upswell, we attracted a lot of our ideal customers, and we retained a lot of our ideal customers, but we attracted 150 of them in like 3 years, right? Which sounds kind of like a lot, but in the agency world, you want to like attract, 1,500 of them in 3 years if you can.
Is that your number for an exit?
Well, in terms of seats, I think that it's just like what our MRR is, like what's our monthly recurring revenue, right? And I don't know if we've got like a specific MRR in mind, but generally the rule of thumb for like, entrepreneurial like business exits is that you take, your ARR and you multiply that by a multiple based on the health of like a couple of different things, like, inbound client flow and how long your customer stays on, what your churn rate is. And, you might throw a 2, 3, 4x multiple on that, on revenue for the year. And, it would be nice to, exit like at a $10 million valuation or something like that, or a 20 million or a 50 million, but we're not there yet. But I think that if we solve the problem I just mentioned, then when,
It'll
I think we
get
could.
there. You'll be on the road to that.
Absolutely.
So when you acquired that Get More Reviews business, did you rebrand them, or are you keeping it as like a separate entity, and then kind of just like is it like it's a separate thing, or is it like now everything is Opaleye?
No, we're keeping them as two separate entities. Nothing changes for Opaleye clients. Nothing changes for GMR clients.
Okay.
I think that eventually we do want like all of our like clients who are using our Opaleye system to be on GMR, just because we own that product, and there's nothing wrong with popping people over. Not that there's, I guess, nothing wrong, but it's just like that's where we would like them to be. But
do they sell two different softwares, or are they the same thing?
They're kind of categorically the same thing. I mean, it accomplishes the same goal.
Okay.
Opaleye, as it stands right now, is a little bit more. It's more white gloved, like as the customer experience is right now. We're like, for the GMR clients that we've brought on, I mean, we're white gloving maybe like 1% of them right now, whereas 90 to 100% of like our Opaleye clients are white gloved. But we the cool thing about like having a white label is that the development team has like a roadmap at that business, and they can innovate and add more features. And so they're like working on two-way text message conversations, chat widgets, text marketing, stuff like that, that can make that tool a little bit more sticky or value driven. So like if you run like a Toyota shop like in Simi Valley, and you want to get reviews, but you also want to let people know when you're running a Memorial Day oil change special, right? Like it would be nice if you could collect reviews, but also collect consent for text message marketing, which Opaleye does. Where we can ask for reviews, but then also say, hey, by the way, can we, message you here in case, we're running any promos, and kind of like the free shipping sort of a deal to keep people buying.
Yeah. It's its own marketing right there.
Yeah, it's like have great reviews and then also keep people coming back by offering them killer deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that you talked about exiting, I guess when you first started. Is there at any point a position in the company where you're making enough money and you kind of like the flow of things that you decided to stay in, and then you're just still a business owner and still doing it?
Well, so if we were to exit or consider that, I'm not the majority shareholder. My partner is. So I guess it would be kind of up to the board should we sell, right? But I'm sure if we did sell, depending on who it was sold to, I could potentially make a case for, sticking around and helping with the sales process should I want to do that.
Like
right?
a consultant or something like that.
Yeah, and just kind of forsake my equity for, just a payout, and then I can, have a job, right?
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that with the amount of time that I've worked on this thing,
Yeah.
I think if we, had a buyer for, a big number and we just, got an offer, I would probably just be like, screw this, dude. I'm going to Bali for a year. And,
and some people kind of think of it as their baby, and
yeah,
I don't want to let it go. This is something that I've had for a long time, and TrueFit. I don't know if you know their mouth guard business.
Yeah,
I could see him if I grew that business, I'd been like, that's my baby. I'm never letting go of this. But there's other owners that are just from the beginning, I'm like, I know that I'm going to exit. This is the goal. Mm-hmm. And it's a solid goal. I think that's what I would try to do. Unless it was a passion project where it's I'm just having fun. I'm just doing this,
Yeah. I mean, selling, custom fit mouth guards and creating those relationships, I think there's a little bit more of a physical, of course there's a physical element to that product, right? We're talking a product versus a service, and I think that if I had a product, if I sold Nalgene water bottles or, created the first.
It's more physical. It's more tangible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This, I mean, I'm not going to tell you that, our service is the only rodeo in town. There are other businesses that do it like we do.
Mm-hmm.
Sell it maybe the same way that we do. But, yeah, I mean, I think that all of our existential reason to be, right, is just to be that Yoda to the Luke Skywalker along the way, right?
Yeah.
Where, the business owners that we service, are the ones who hold the lightsaber, right? They're the ones who swing it around. It's just that Yoda's got to be there to be able to, tell him how and when to swing it and how to get that X-wing out of the swamp, right?
Yeah.
And I think that personality or that character in the business owner's stories, it could really kind of be anybody. So I don't really kind of feel very I don't think that I would feel very sentimental about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that part up, because with a lot of competition that's out there, how do you sense yourself as more of the Yoda where you're helping your customer to kind of do it themselves? Mm-hmm. Is that what separates you from other competitors? I guess that's out in the industry right now.
I think no. I think that people don't buy, at least maybe when you're doing outbound sales, I don't think that people buy products necessarily that they need. I think they recognize that they have a need, and if they're smart, they'll shop for it, right? They'll shop different vendors. I think that they buy from people that they like. And I think that I can, sell what we've got better than anybody out there. I think that that's maybe our difference. There are other systems out there that, say, well, we do appointment booking and you can do this, that, and the other thing, and 10 different bags of tricks. And I don't really like to sell on features. I really just kind of like to sell on what the result's going to be. Mm-hmm. Where I'll point out that competitor who's 10x what they've got on Google, right? And say, well, look, this guy's eating your lunch. He's getting 10 times more phone calls on here. And it's not because he's running advertisements. It's not because he's, got a better product than you. It's because that he's way more trustworthy right here on the space where people are looking right at him. And I think that the cool thing about, selling just reviews or reputation management is that the niche is, it's almost like laughable if you like look at it from like a digital marketing perspective, where it's like, well, you don't just need reviews. You need like, a website. You need like all these different things to like really make your business hum.
Yeah.
But I guess it's like kind of my and my partner's opinion that like it really like it kind of is just the opinion of the masses. Like how many people do you know who go to Singing Sun, and why do they go there? It's because people like to go to Singing Sun and their coffee's good, right? Or why do people like to go to Persistence Culture, right? Like over any other CrossFit gym? It's because like the people are great and the classes are awesome and the trainers are the best trainers in the state of California.
Right. Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you need. Would you write a review? Like.
Yeah. So
I'll send you a text. We use Opal Eye.
Please, yeah.
That's great, man. Well, do you guys have any social media, or how do people find you?
Yeah, well, if you want to check us out, you can find our most recent business, which we've got both hands on the boat on at getmorereviews.com. Just Google us, Get More Reviews.
Easy.
Very easy. Our moniker that we shop around town here in Ventura County is Opal Eye Reviews, and we named that after a fish that you can catch here in the Channel Islands, the Opal Eye fish.
I like it.
We're on Instagram. We've got our website. And
Same names on there.
Same names on there.
Okay.
And that's about it. I mean, call me. Pop an inquiry into our inbound form, and
there you go.
You'll get a phone call.
You'll talk to Henry directly. Yeah. That's cool, man.
Absolutely.
Any closing remarks or anything else?
No. Like, not to be corny, but like, here we are in the Persistence Culture like podcast. Like, part of like what has always resonated with me about the culture of persistence culture, right, is like being persistent. I always say, like, in my sales process, when I call people back after maybe not a long time, but like maybe a week of not hearing from me, I'll call them up and I'll say, well, Brian, it's your, long lost pal, Henry. It's your best bud, Henry, here with my trademark brand of polite persistence, I'm not here to follow up. I'm not here to check in on you, I'm calling to see where we're at. Can you give me that answer?
Yeah.
And, like, persistence is what kind of got me, I guess, to where I'm at. And
wow,
that's
well said.
That helped, I guess, and
I like that.
And your guys' marketing getting me through the door. So,
really?
Oh yeah.
There's a Sean.
Oh well, Sean sunk his teeth into me. Sean's a pretty good sales guy too.
Yeah, he is. I could learn a lot from Sean for sure.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Yeah, solid. Well, thanks for hopping on, Henry. I appreciate it. Good talk. Give us a follow on Instagram, Persistence Culture Podcast. And for everything Persistence Culture, check out our website, persistenceculture.com, and keep moving.